Hey everyone, and welcome to the Soul Star Cafe. My name is Ruth Perkinson, and I'm really happy all of you guys are watching this video with me today because I have a very amazing guest with me by the name of Dr. Nathaniel Mason. Welcome, Dr. Mason. Good to see you.
Hi, so glad to be back on. I'm feeling good. We both cleared some energy and sat with ourselves and our spirit before this, so I'm feeling great. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, I'm really happy you're here too because you just got an intuitive hit to talk about a couple of things that I think will be helpful to the watchers of this video. And we're only going to go for maybe 10 or 15 minutes. But one of the things that you brought up that you got a hit on is the spirituality of space.
Yeah.
So I thought we could talk about what that is, what that means, and what that might be for the people watching this.
Yeah, that's such a good question. Well, I don't mean space like constellations, although space is quite beautiful, but when I was thinking about this recently and I got the intuitive hit, I was thinking how much for me my energy feels different around different spaces, either in home, like my home throughout the day, or places that I have to go visit when I'm running errands, or even how I want to spend my downtime on weekends or when work is slowed down a little bit. And I think one thing kind of my spirit guides have been sort of cautioning me about is pay attention to how spaces in the 3D plane that we live, pay attention to how they make us feel. And for me, for whatever reason, it's a very strong response to spaces. I can walk into a store and feel very chaotic and all of a sudden drained and like I just want to leave and I can't really fully explain why. And we don't have to know why. It's okay not to know why. And the second half of the video, I wanted to also cover some of the practical tips you can do when you don't always have that option to be able to leave, and ways that you can make spaces, I think, a little bit more holy, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it really does. So let's talk a little bit about when we walk into different places. This happened
Oof,
to me
yes.
yesterday. I went to vote and I went to a little pizza shop and I got hit with some low vibey energy. So yeah, we're talking
Yeah.
about spaces, we're talking about people in those spaces. So how do you navigate that? Like, are you navigating with a feeling, or do you have what kind of clair is keyed in there, I guess? Clairsentience, clairaudience, clairvoyance.
Yeah, it's such a good point. I would say it's a lot of clear sentience and it's picking up on, I think, people's energy. Where I think a while back I used to get, I'll be honest, because I'm in my journey of, I make mistakes all the time. I used to get very kind of angry at it, like, oh, I don't want to be in this space. This is so low vibe and I'm above this. But it adds to that energy, right? That
Right.
fuels that energy. It makes it so that I get caught in that web of low vibe energy because I'm judging. And anytime I'm judging, I've made an error and it's an opportunity to correct. It's what Course in Miracles teaches us.
That's a great point. That when you go into like if you go into Costco or something,
Yeah,
anyway, some kind of,
yeah.
I don't know, it could even be a church. You go in and you feel like this sort of low vibey, maybe negativity, whatever it might be, and for you not to give it any energy. Is that what I'm hearing?
Exactly. And so what I recognize in myself now, exactly right. I don't want to give it energy. So what it is an opportunity to correct, and it's an opportunity to check in with what's the next right thing for me to do for myself. And a lot of times, if it's something that's not necessary, I can choose to leave. I can say, I don't think I'd rather be here right now. I can remove myself. I can go to a different store. I can go somewhere at a different time. I can choose a different place to eat. I've been to a park before where it just didn't feel good. Like there was something sticky or heavy about the energy there. And so it's like, I'd rather take my walk somewhere else, just a little bit calmer. So I can always choose to literally remove myself. But one thing I try to say before leaving is, Holy Spirit, I want to protect myself and I want to bless the energies here that whatever happens, whatever needs to occur for healing, it's for everyone's highest good.
Wow, that's beautiful awareness.
I appreciate that. That's very kind. Can I ask how you felt in that pizza shop the other day? Like, how did you know that you started to feel the Nilo
Yeah,
vibe?
well, thank you for throwing it back. I felt okay, so a couple things happened with me, and as I do the work that we do, as I walked, I went to vote, and that felt okay. It didn't feel
Yeah.
like high vibey, but it just felt okay. It was actually kind of comical. It felt comical to me for some reason. Then I went into the pizza shop, and that kind of felt okay too, but something got I think it was either a spirit or an energy I think got hooked into me to my field, and it traveled back
Oh,
home with me. And so I had to spend some time last night doing all the things that I do to clear to get rid of that sort of, I call it sticky energy. And that's
yeah.
very important because I think we are going through this celestial speed up, and I think people are becoming more and more aware of this. If that's, does that, do you agree with that? People are becoming more
Oh, yeah.
aware? Okay. Yeah.
Very much so. I mean, even people that are, I would say, otherwise pretty, they like the five senses. They're very much into the 3D, and that's not a judgment, it's their path.
Right.
They seem open to, ooh, this space has bad juju, or this place feels very peaceful or good. I've even heard people kind of, randomly talk about past lives and stuff, and I'm like, oh, wow.
Yeah.
So there is an openness to it. And so it's like, I think all an opportunity to be healed and to be corrected.
Yeah. So I think the main idea I'm feeling is just to really pay attention to as any of you guys are walking into any space, right? We're talking about spaces, to really feel how that space feels and just have that feeling of noticing, like what are you noticing about this place? And then that can
Exactly.
inform you about what to do next.
Yeah, you hit the nail on the head. What are you noticing? And suspending judgment. Like, you don't have to judge yourself, you don't have to judge the space. Pay attention to what you're noticing and think of, why is this happening for me? Like, everything is for my healing. So, I heard a really smart thing once that someone has said, who I worked with for a while, why is this happening for me instead of why is this happening to me? Even that one preposition difference. Why is this happening for me? It's an opportunity
Yeah.
to heal. It's an opportunity to correct. It's an opportunity to notice and practice suspending judgment, but still taking care of ourselves at the same time.
Right. Yeah, self-care and just, yeah, all that. That's really so helpful for people to hear, I think, hear this in this message today about spaces. What do you do in your own personal space to keep it clear and healthy at home?
Yeah, it's such a good question. Like these kind of practical tips. I'm someone who I'm a big believer in. And I think I probably learned this from you about blessing spaces that you're in, or if you're in a space where a lot of healing has happened in relationships or, in the mind, depending on what that healing is, that it almost like there's this residual good energy that comes into a space. And so it's funny, like I'm sitting right now in the chair that I counsel in when I do telehealth sessions. And I love my clients. They're just wonderful and they try so hard and they do such good work. And I feel their healing every time we meet in some way, shape, or form. And I trust that that energy kind of spills out to the space behind me, which even though it's blurred in my background, it's my office that I'm in. And I've done a lot of the daily course lessons in here too, kind of in a chair over there. And my bookshelf back there, I also have like a couple of crystals and things that are, I think, very holy and keep a very high integrity in their environment and they're very cleansing. Those are the things that come up for me. What comes up for you?
Well, very similar, I feel. And I like that what you said about, holding space for your clients and you're in your chair and then that's a healing
Yeah,
chair, and
right.
some of the things that I do is I do sage and Palo Santo every day.
So smart.
And I also use like I just bought this sandalwood oil and I'll
Ooh,
put that like on my neck just to kind of make me, and I set those intentions to like clear my own personal space. And then I just bless the house with the sage and the Palo Santo and ask any and all beings who have come in to leave, through the fresh air of the door or the window. And that's helpful to me.
that's so helpful. You know, there's something else I learned from you with some of the healing work that we've done with one another that I've actually borrowed, which is like asking whether it's archangels or spirit guides or Holy Spirit, universe, love, whoever, go ahead of me in this situation and clear the path for the best possible outcome and that it protects everybody involved. Like I've heard you say that kind of language before, and that really resonates with me. And it takes a lot of the work off of our shoulders. I think that's a really helpful practical tip too.
Oh, that's a great tip. Yeah, setting that beautiful intention. Whenever
Hmm.
Heather and I leave the house, I ask the angels to protect the house, above, below, all around the neighborhood, just and protect the car. Just setting the intentions like that just make you feel better, I think, just in your,
They do.
yeah. And then I think it does go ahead and I think it does bless the space that we're going into and setting those beautiful intentions. The other thing that you mentioned was or is, I guess, practical tips for peace in this day and age right now that we're in. So I thought
Yes.
you had some really good wisdom that you wanted to share about that for our listeners.
I do. And I want to first validate some of these things by saying I am not above anybody with this. I get so spun up or dysregulated or thrown off sometimes. And so it's like an active practice for me too. Like I have not gotten to the top of anything and I'm, the mastering it in any way. There's some of the biggest practical tips for me are kind of similar to what we just said about setting intention. And it's actually something that I've learned is almost like something that I guess we would call acclimating, like in normal terms where a lot of times I would set up my schedule to go, things are back to back. I did that a lot in my doctoral program. I did that a lot in the first couple of years as a professor. And when you have really busy schedules with clients, just literally maybe a minute to pee or take a sip of water, right?
Yeah.
And everything is like back to back to back. I actually finally, because of enough people recommending it, are trying to build in a little bit more space between things now to sort of see it like a car. I'm decelerating and then accelerating back up. And it actually helps me feel a lot more present with what I'm doing instead of feeling just drained and thinking that I have to like tap into this endless energy source. It allows me to refresh the way I need to by adding a
Oh,
little bit
yeah.
of buffer of time.
That's super helpful to hear. Yeah. Putting that 15 minutes in between sessions or something. Is
Yes.
that what you do? Is like, like 10 or 15
Yes,
minutes?
like 10 or
Okay.
15 minutes. It doesn't have to be more than that. It really helps me check in with what I need, and I can say an intention, a
Right.
quick prayer, ask for that support, and it doesn't feel rushed, and it's not just another checklist item.
Right. Yeah, because I would imagine as a counselor, that you want to stay in that parasympathetic state, the peace, I call it the peaceful state.
Ooh, I love
And
that
and
parasympathetic state. Yeah.
yeah, it's easier for me to remember it that way. Parasympathetic is the peaceful
Yeah.
state. And rather be in that fight or flight or freeze or fawn place, so
Yes.
you're really, so that way you can really tune in and tap into the right energy for the next client that you see.
Exactly. Yeah, we call that like the rest and digest state, the
Yeah.
parasympathetic. I love that you brought that up. Rest and digest.
Yeah.
That's what it's designed
Wow,
for.
that's super helpful. So these are really great practical tips for people, like just noticing how you feel in spaces.
Yeah.
um, looking at your own space and, just making it vibrate in a way that's going to be helpful for you and even your clients. And
Yeah.
then these peaceful tips, these tips for being in that peaceful way. How long have we gone? Has it been 10 minutes? I don't even know.
Yeah, I feel like it's been like something between like maybe 10 to 15 going on 20 minutes. Yeah, just the right amount of time, I
Yeah, because
think.
we were talking about just before we hit record about people's attention is
Yes.
feels like it's more limited these days. So we're trying to keep these videos to like 15 minutes or so that we give some really good wisdom. We
Yes.
repeat the wisdom in a sense, and so that people can walk away going, yeah, I can use this tip, my clairsentience, I can look at my space. I love that setting some time between clients so you can get back into that rest and digest state. So while I'm finding the end button here, can you give
Sure.
some more wisdom around anything that might be helpful at this point?
Yeah. I think that one thing I see a lot in the spiritual community, and again, I'm not above this, like I have done this kind of bypassing before, is even if we agree or believe, these bodies aren't real, they still deserve kind of kindness and care, right? And so when I'm thinking about, these practical tips to be peaceful, I always, and I ask myself this, ask my clients this, check in with my base needs. And we've talked about this on a few videos in the past. Like this isn't new, but I can't re-emphasize that enough. Like check your blood sugar, check in with how hydrated you feel. Do you need to even shut your eyes for 5 to 10 minutes? That can make a huge difference in how you feel between things, even if you don't fall asleep, just kind of reducing some of that overstimulation of the brain. I'm a big believer in those small things that really can make a huge difference in the trajectory of our next few hours or the rest of our day.
Oh, so well said. Thank you so much, Nathaniel. Thank you for coming on. This is Dr. Nathaniel
Yeah.
Macy, and he's an amazing professor and
Oh, thank you.
counselor and just really good wisdom. And thank you so much for doing all the work that you do with your clients and the people coming to you and
Yeah.
your students as well. I'm sure they really, really, really connect with your light and your energy. So thank you.
I so appreciate it. Well, we learn from you and learn from the other greats. So thanks, everyone.
Thank you, Nathaniel. Love you. If I can find this.